Welcome to Europe Day 2022. My name is Victoria Rubadiri and I'm an award-winning Kenyan journalist, and I am delighted and honored to be your host for this year's celebrations. Now you might be wondering, where am I? I'm actually in the CBD. I'm on stage at Alliance Francaise, and this is a venue that hosts talent from across Kenya. So if you're interested to see some interesting artists, make your way down here at some point. But for today, we are looking at the youth and what they think about climate change and some of their thoughts around that topic and how they engage. We have an exciting program with videos, with music and interviews, just to give you more context on what they think about climate change. Now, without a doubt, climate change is the most important challenge that we are facing today. And it's overwhelming. You're inundated with information about it and wondering, how do I plug in? What are my options? Is it something like stopping using fuel in my car? Or to tell my grandmother in the village to stop using firewood for her wonderful cooking? Or something as simple as, where do I put my household waste when there are no recycling points? Well, my simple and short answer to that is, yeah, there is something that you can do about it, and we'll show you how. Now, the next question could be, how does the EU engage and partner with Kenya? And why? Well, there's lots of activities and programs that it is involved in. But one, of course, is the fact that Kenya is a leader in the African context and a very strong EU partner. And you know what? When it comes to climate change, no one can tackle it alone or by themselves. And so you need that partnership between the EU and Kenya and other African countries to actually see change and a shift when it comes to climate change in Kenya and across the continent and, of course, around the world. And you know what? Maybe you just might get your grandmother to use cooking gas instead of firewood. Who knows? Now, when we look at today's program, we have some amazing young climate change activists who are doing great work in their respective communities. We'll be hearing from them in terms of the work that they're doing in urban and rural areas. Let me give you their names really quickly. We have Tracy Kimathi. We also have Dennis Muguta, William Nguru, and Stephen Gitahi. And of course, you know what? It's not a celebration if we don't have music. So of course, we have you covered in that area. We have Heart the Band, and we'll also be hearing from the Kenya Conservatoire Women's Orchestra, who will be performing with none other than Fena. So stay tuned for those performances, and we'll be hearing from Octopizzo himself on the lowdown when it comes to climate change and his thoughts around that as well. So sit back, relax. You're going to love the program, no doubt. Now, we have produced a number of clips and videos to explain how the EU is engaging and, of course, trying to mitigate climate change and the kinds of programs that it's involved in when it comes to biodiversity, trade, and energy right here in Kenya. So, let's talk about something called the green transition. Have any idea what that is? All right, so we're just about to tell you through this clip on what work is going on around that. Take a look.
Our planet has been nurturing us for millennia. It can keep sustaining us, but its resources aren't limitless. We need to act now to protect the planet for future generations and make our societies climate resilient. The European Green Deal is the EU's commitment to be the first climate-neutral continent by 2050. It means radically transforming how we do things, reimagining urban landscapes by restoring ecosystems and giving space to nature. Finding greener ways to move around. Eating healthily while giving back to the planet. We have an opportunity and a responsibility to set Europe and the world on a more sustainable path. Research and innovation hold the solutions. Together, let's bring them to life.
It's clear from that clip that protecting the environment actually creates thousands of jobs in various sectors and areas when it comes to climate change, smart agriculture, forestry, and of course, renewable energy. And you know what? On that note, we really need to make peace with the environment. It's our responsibility. So think through how you can do that on your terms. Now, it's exciting because the theme for this year is European Year of Youth. So it's all about you and how you can engage and help sustainable issues around the environment. And coming up on the show, as I said earlier, we'll be focusing on the role of youth in Kenya and building a better future. And by better future, what do I mean? I mean a greener future. A future where you have a voice, where you actually have a say. And we'll be talking to some young climate activists on just some of the amazing work that they are doing right here in Kenya and how the EU member states or Team Europe is working with Kenyans to support the green transition. Now, I'm delighted to invite our first speaker for the show, the European Union Ambassador to Kenya, Henrietta Geiger, to make some introductory words. Have a look.
Welcome to the online festivities to mark 9th of May, also called Europe Day. This is the European Union's birthday back in 1950. Initially, 6 European countries started a process of economic and political integration in order to foster peace and prevent wars in Europe. In the meantime, we have grown to 27 member states, and we also call ourselves Team Europe. With Kenya, Team Europe has developed a long-standing relationship, but we are now stepping up our partnership through a strategic dialogue between the EU and the government of Kenya, which was launched last year. This year, our Europe Day program focuses on young Kenyans and how they can successfully tackle climate change and promote the green transition. Why young Kenyans? Because young Kenyans are the future and Kenya's best hope in successfully dealing with climate change. We count on all Kenyans, but especially on young Kenyans. I should point out that this year, 2022, is also the European Year of Youth. In the program today, we will show you examples of what young Kenyans are achieving in this field. We want to show that the green transition is not a choice between fighting climate change or providing for livelihoods. In fact, the green transition provides many opportunities for jobs. It provides for transition into a new economy that is built on more harmony and peace with nature. Given the drought in parts of Kenya, fighting climate change also helps to save livelihoods. In the EU, we have something to share and we have something to learn as well. Team Europe's financial support to Kenya in the coming years only for the green transition will be 400 billion Kenyan shillings by the EU, member states and the European Investment Bank. Supporting this effort is the European Union's Global Gateway initiative, which is about investment in green jobs and growth, including in Kenya. The European Investment Bank, the EU bank, has opened a regional hub in Kenya and will be providing critical financing for this. There are young Kenyans working on groundbreaking projects and you will meet them on the show. But we also want to have a great time together. We have invited, therefore, some great entertainers, Fena and Hart, the band, and music from the Kenya Conservatoire Women's Orchestra. Also, Octopiso will feature. It saddens me, however, but I cannot ignore those who are suffering in Europe at this moment. I cannot close this message without expressing our solidarity with our sisters and brothers in the Ukraine who are bravely fighting off the Russian invasion, sacrificing their lives for their sovereignty and for freedom from Russian oppression. A very strong reason for the creation of the European Union back in the 50s was to maintain peace in Europe and globally. We are all too aware that at the moment there is no peace in Europe, but we want to return to it as soon as possible. If we can do anything to mitigate the negative effects in Kenya caused by the war, we will. However, all wars are terrible and come with consequences we cannot fully control. For the future, we want to prevent the worst effects of climate change and make sure people across the world and in Kenya prosper in creating a greener future. This is why we especially need you, young people, the future generations, to drive the green transition forward. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the program. I leave you in the capable hands of our host, Victoria Rubadiri. Asante sana.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your remarks. So let me give you some more information on the European Union. Well, it's made up of 27 member states in Europe. And Team Europe is extremely active when it comes to various projects and working in partnership with organizations and companies right here on Kenyan soil. And many of the member states actually have embassies here in Kenya that help to build a bridge between Kenya and Europe. And that's not all. Let me give you a figure in terms of the kind of support that Team Europe offers to various partners here in Kenya. Over 100 billion shillings a year that goes to supporting various companies and organizations in that transition to a green economy in various areas when it comes to infrastructure, finance, and renewable energy. So let's get specific and look at some of those projects. 118 in number. Take a look at this graphic, and mobilizing some 400 billion Kenya shillings over a 10-year period. You can see all of the colorful flags, and it's actually 11 different countries doing this, and of course in collaboration with the European Commission and the European Investment Bank. No Europe Day is complete without playing the European Union anthem and of course the Kenyan anthem, and it is my absolute pleasure to invite the Kenya Conservatoire Women's Orchestra, and that will be followed by a performance by none other than Fena. So we'll actually be crossing over to the Kenya National Theatre, where we'll be having all of that action in just a few, and then we'll come back for more inspiring conversations and insightful videos. Stay with us. Wow, that was the Kenya Conservatoire Women's Orchestra with the beautiful rendition of the European Union anthem and, of course, the Kenyan anthem. And I have the co-founder right here with me, Wandiri Karimi. Thank you so much for coming in. I mean, it's such a beautiful initiative when you think about it. You elevating female instrumentalists, which you're not seeing enough of. Yeah. You know, what kind of inspired you to go this route?
So I'm a guitarist who studied law.
Wow.
I like to say that because music is my first love. But when I started the orchestra, it was just really about having other women with me on stage. And Kezia and I, Kezia is the lead conductor who was conducting the orchestra. Kezia believed in the dream, and she at the time was the only woman conductor, and I was a guitarist for a long time by myself. And I said, how do we make it possible for people to be in a space where they can be safe? Because safety for women is a whole thing. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but being able to be on stage, feel safe, and have the opportunities to play, that was what inspired us.
Right. You know, and showcasing female excellence in music as well is fantastic.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there's lots and lots of female musicians because, you know, you study music at the same time. I mean, when we went to school, there was music, but then there is also, you know, parents will pay for lessons for both boys and girls, but then at some point the boys will continue to, you know, do the thing as men, and then as girls you stop at a certain age, and then you think, okay, now I need to, you know, get the children, and then after that, you know, I'll get older and I don't get to. Like this year we were really fortunate in March when we do our event, because it's centered around the International Women's Day, so that's when we do our annual event. We had someone in her 60s in one of the sections, so it's just really about having women passing on that intergenerational a skill about how it is to be a musician in your 20s, how it is in your 30s, how it is in your 40s, because it's unfortunate that we don't have many women continuing on with this wonderful thing that we have to give the world.
No, absolutely. And you've been doing this since 2017.
Yes.
You know, when you look at the growth path so far, what are some of your proud moments?
When we first sat down, it was actually in October of 2016, but the first event was in 2017. But to have women sit down and be part of this, because what you see on stage is 2 months of work with the orchestra in March, but then there is 6 months of work that goes into preparing when we're choosing the music, and just seeing people grow through the leadership roles that you have, because every section has a leader. We didn't have many brass players, now we have many brass players, you know, joining in. The woodwind head is only 21 years old. So just watching young women just take up leadership roles and being part of something and dreaming bigger about what we can do. And for us, our dream is to make it Africa-wide. So you can imagine just sitting with an Egyptian player, sitting with a Rwandese player. That's our dream, really. We were able to have a Ugandan join us in 2018, and that's what we're looking at. How do we make this an Africa-wide initiative where women can just be themselves on stage and play what it is that they love?
Incredible. And I think lastly, because we've been focusing on the youth throughout the show, and I'm curious, you know, what kind of advice would you give them considering the path you've taken, IP lawyer, but also music, and just what the future looks like for them, just giving them some hope in terms of how they can tap into their skills and talents?
I'm inspired by them. I mean, they just have a very different way of looking at things. We were very set in our ways, and you were told, you know, you become lawyer, doctor, engineer, and then that's it. But the world is changing. The kind of skills that people have. Who knew that influencing would be something that we were going to term as a career? So I think just being passionate about what it is that you want to do and being very one-minded about it, and then you can do many things. You just don't have to do just one thing, but then do it well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Wandiri, and all the best with all you're doing with the Kenya Conservatoire Women's Orchestra. And on that note, let's get into some more music. Fena is standing by at the Kenya National Theatre with much more of a performance. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fena Gitu, aka the Phenomenal Woman, joined by the Women's Orchestra for Europe Day. Enjoy. To all the phenomenal women doing their thing, this one's for you. Edith Kimani didn't know one day she would grow to be a known worldwide presenter. Victoria Kimani didn't know she would kill his show, run Lagos before Nairobi felt her. Yo, take a look at Lupita Nyong'o, a better life and now it's full of pretenders. Fena Gitu, now you know it's phenomenal. Toka mbali na nimbali ninaenda. Now you can bet your money on me, baby, I'm the real deal. And they can never slow me down, I'm a big deal, yeah. Mama told me, sit down, be humble, keep it classy, keep it real. She doing her thing though, she's a real go-getter. Anything you do, she do it better. And anything she wants, she will get it, unapologetic, unstoppable, I'm phenomenal, yeah. I'm a queen though. I wanna meet Huda, so I can shake her hand, tell her she a queen, she made something of herself. Uki catch feelings, she account shillings, stop billing, while she in a private jet, get down on your knees and pray. And then do your best, they don't know your tears. What you say, speak now or forever hold your breath. Now you can bet your money on me, baby, I'm the real deal. And they can never slow me down, I'm a big deal. Mama told me, sit down, be humble, keep it classy, keep it real, doing my thing though. I'm a real go-getter, anything I do, you do it better. And anything she wants, she will get it, unapologetic. Hey, unstoppable, I'm phenomenal, doing my thing though. I'm a queen though. Alright ladies, let's go. Picky mawa, picky mawa. Piki mawa, hibiti nawa. Piki mawa, hibiti nawa, piki mawa. Piki mawa,
Wow, if there's something about Fena, she never disappoints. That was amazing, and she'll be treating us to much more of that a bit later on in the show. Now, as I mentioned earlier, today is all about young change makers, especially in relation to the environment. And you'll be seeing how they are running enterprises that really are making peace with nature. And one such individual who's joining me now is Stephen Gitahi. He is a research coordinator at the Internet of Things Research Lab at iLab Africa Research and Innovation Center. He's a technology enthusiast, and he truly believes in using sustainable technology to solve problems. He also leads a team that works on environmental monitoring aspects such as water leakage, water quality, and air quality in Nairobi. My goodness, what an introduction. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you, Victoria.
All right, so before we start our conversation, let's take a look at some of the work that you are involved in.
My name is Stephen Gitahi. I'm a research coordinator here, specifically IoT research coordinator. So as you can see, this is the IoT research lab. We are in iLab Africa. So iLab Africa is a research and innovation center. It's housed in Strathmore University. Here we just focus on three main areas. Number one, which is research. Number two, project development. And number three, capacity building. Being a research and innovation center, it's very crucial because we're able to develop new technology. We're also able to research new technology. Something that is top of our head now is climate change. So as you can tell, we've already spoken about climate change. There's a lot of talks, but we need action. And this is how we're able to take action, by taking up all these technologies, Internet of Things, data analytics, big data, blockchain, and just incorporate that to develop solutions that can be consumed in the market. We had a conversation with my friends earlier, and we were talking about what can the youths do to be able to bring solutions, or maybe to bring technological solutions to emerging issues such as climate change. And we identified fashion, which is now just saying we need to own the problems. So if it's climate change we're talking about, then we need to own that this is our problem, and we need to develop solutions for it. And then number 2, skill development, which is, so we have a problem, what can we do about it? So we need to upskill ourselves to be able to generate relevant solutions to the problems. So I would say those two, passion and marrying passion and skill.
Incredible. So, Stephen, all of that happening within the lab. Let me first ask you, why are climate change matters so important to the youth?
Victoria, around 1.9 billion of the population across the globe are just youth. And if you come to Africa, 70% of us are below 30. So this conversation is something that involves us deeply. So it's one of a conversation that we have to take up today and going forward. So if you think about our average age, 25 years old, if we are to live up to 90 years old, we are looking at 65 more years. And if you go now to the next generation and under an extra 40 years, you're looking at 100 years. So this is a conversation that pertains us, and that is the reason we have to look at it. If you think about a cow, you feed it very well, it gives you very good milk. So it's the same thing we are looking at. How can we give back to the earth so that it can give back to us?
So how would you say digital tech actually contributes to the green transition, especially here in Kenya?
I'd look at that in two ways. Number one, technology is an agent for change. And number two, as an instrument for change. So as an agent, I'd look at technology. I mean, Kenya is one of the countries that has really adopted technology, and we are using it to pass knowledge to other people. So capacity building initiatives, on-demand kind of knowledge that you can just browse online and get the information that you require. The other thing is using technology as an instrument. So here is where we have now techies like us. We bring in emerging technologies. Think about data science, big data, cybersecurity, and very important to me, Internet of Things. So as an example of something you mentioned, something I'm doing, is monitoring the environment. We are looking at air pollution, we are looking at water quality, and just trying to see if we can detect leakages across pipelines. So how we do that is we connect sensors to the ecosystem, and then we can get data from it. So what that data allows us to do is now to come to policymakers, and then they can make certain decisions based on that data. So those are the key main areas that we can use technology to push us towards a greener globe.
Fantastic. And you know, if I'm a young person, I'm watching you, Stephen, and I'm saying, what you're saying is great, it's fantastic, but then how do I plug in? How do I engage as a young person?
Very important, number one, is to own this initiative, to own this fight. As I've mentioned about the ages, it's our fight, and we have to take it up. Number two is to upskill ourselves. So as youths, we need to get the necessary skills so that we are able to take up these tasks. It's important to understand where the pain points are so that we, the kind of solutions we're innovating actually hit those points. Number three would be to look at stakeholder engagement. So as youths, we need to come in there and ensure that whatever we are doing here in Kenya also reaches a person in America, also reaches someone else in Europe, so that we are not building here and they are destroying on the other side. I'll give you a very good example. If you think about smart farming, aquaponic farming, you're reducing carbon footprint. Now, if you're doing that, and on the other side, there's someone who is using diesel to transport this food from where it's made to the market, you're reducing carbon footprint here, but then you're also adding it here. So there's need for that harmony across the stakeholders so that together we move upwards.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephen. What an inspiring guy you are. And I hope the young people are hearing you loud and clear on how they can plug in. And you talked about smart farming. Speaking of which, let's see this short clip on how farmers are leveraging on digital tech to help improve their harvests and their livelihoods as well. Take a look.
Farming is the backbone of Kenya's economy, employing over 40% of the population. Farmers across the country are now adapting digital technologies for better farming practices that increase productivity and improve livelihoods. In Nakuru County, soil testing is informing farmers on the correct type and amount of fertilizer to use, which takes the guesswork out of what is needed for better yields, adapting agricultural production to changing climates.
I'm a farmer growing pyrethrum. After we did soil sampling, when the results came out, I knew the deficiency in my farm. I was advised to use a certain variety of fertilizer, and I saw a great improvement in my pyrethrum production.
In Vihiga County, satellite-derived crop mapping helps farmers to monitor their crops, assess production, and get advice on farming practices.
We can cut our information here as farmers and post it through our SMS. Our Wazungus will know how this area is, and you'll be brought back the message to see your area now, Rita, Mama Rita, it is like this, and like this. Now our production is very high. You can see even the field now. For the example, the other time, you could have found this maize very yellow. But since the soil was tested, the good fertilizer has been applied through the technology we were given. Now you can see the farm is very clean, and it shows that our production in this farm will be high.
We are the European Union's Team Europe.
The EU and its member states, Team Europe, have been global leaders in addressing climate change and promoting the green transition. Now, the EU adopted the Green Deal back in December 2019, and that's basically the EU's commitment to tackling climate and environmental degradation. But at the same time, it also serves as a strategy for economic transformation for the EU to turn it into a resource-efficient and competitive economy. And a very big goal that I need to share here: no net emissions on greenhouse gases in 2050. That's a huge deal. Now, in this next video, you'll see how Kenyans as well are helping to mitigate climate change. Take a look.
The effects of climate change are hardest felt by people living in marginalized areas. To make sure they are well protected from natural hazards and other stresses that may come their way, devolved climate finance models have been adopted by the Kenyan government. These communities now have the ability to plan, implement, and monitor resilience investments that promote water conservation and more efficient use of water resources.
waxaa looga imaada 50 kilomitir hatta 60 waa laga imaada 60 kilomitir hadhaadho hatta inta looga imaada inta waa ka waraabinay maxaan la garsi maxaan ku yiraahdaa garsi qoftu maxaan ku yiraahdaa baragoday all inta waa ka soo waraabinay.
Local communities are now more aware of the context and what is needed to promote investments that focus on livelihood diversification.
injiga hadan injiga adaalkan inoo yaal إلى 2015 حتى ما يقصنا ولا حيسا أنت إنجي وان سافرين بلو وان سافرين إنجي عن خلاص شقين بلو سافرين مركا درجة ما كينيها لا أنا كورة إلا سنوجا كوكر كود يعتر وقتها جوز كان حكى طبعا مجال عارف وياه يحكوا يجيني بيجي العكيد صدقنا صنع هذا أوارد دم إمادين وضرك الشعر اللي قال وين وحنو يلا مش عارف وجايين.
We are the European Union's Team Europe.
All right, as you've just seen from that video, the effects of climate change really do hit people who live in marginalized areas. But for now, let's shift our focus to a bit of music. So what do you get when you mix music, fashion, art, and poetry? I'll tell you what, Heart the Band. Gentlemen, welcome. Looking amazing.
Thank you.
How have you been? Oh, thank you. I try.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great to have you.
Thank you.
How have you been? How's the music industry been treating you so far? It's been a while since, was it My Jaber?
My Jaber.
Yeah.
Wow.
It has.
Been a while.
It has.
Yeah. Lakini tuko poa. We're good. You've been creating?
Yeah, we've been creating a lot, and we're happy to be here. So happy to be here.
Yeah, and actually our album just dropped.
It's out.
It's called Party Time.
Yes.
Party time.
So you know today is gonna be party time here.
Yeah.
So we are going to make people happy, make them enjoy, and still remind them that they need to take care of their climate and take care of their environment.
Kabisa.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because we've been talking about the youth and climate change and how they can plug in. You know, what advice would you give? What do you think opportunities exist for young people when it comes to that?
You see, we have like great future ahead of us, you see. So I always, personally, I feel like the more we learn about, we go to school learning about future and the world, we also need to like learn about how to save the world, you know. You can't just be learning we can't just be learning about the future and then we don't know about how to save the world, you see.
Exactly.
So that's
like the youth need to be more involved in taking care of the environment. You know, like mostly we are so much in the run for money and the run for making sure tomorrow you're alive.
Yeah, we forget
but you'll have all that money, but then if the environment is not working for you, then what's that money for? You know? So I feel like the youth need to be more involved and more active in taking care of the environment.
Cut one tree, plant three.
I'll see you.
He has said it. That is the challenge to you all. But Heart the Band, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I cannot wait for the music. Me, I'll just be an audience member.
Oh, yes.
All right?
Oh, yes. You shall enjoy.
I know we will. Stage is yours. Thank
Shukran.
you.
Jobless. Watoto wasikuwe jobless. Jobless. Watoto wasipate jobless. Jobless. Watoto wapate blessings a job not less. Jobless. Climate ikuwe yes. Jobless Kenya. Jobless Africa. Jobless dunia nzima. Amina. So we are the band, H__, we are the band. Thank you all for tuning in. Twende kazi ya still.
Makes you do crazy things again. Ask my shoe, uliza kiatu, and know what I went through to buy you those rings again. Ask my shoes, uliza kiatu, masaibu ninayoyapitia kukupeleka dina. Uliza kiatu, nyakade. Nyakade, ninavyokatafuna, eti ndo ukule baga. Apita, uliza kiatu, wabada. Come on, ask my shoes, ask my shoes, uliza kiatu, uliza kiatu. Sing it, ask my shoes, ask my shoes, uliza kiatu, uliza kiatu. Cheki, nimekopa nikupe, kumbe wewe ndo kupe. Sidwe nang'ang'ana ndo tule juhudi zangu bure. And I heard that love should always make us trouble one. Yeah. But how I feel, I think that they were wrong. Ask me why, nase nilipe, nikupe. One drop. Nasema taxi nilipe, take me nikupe. Nywele zisongwe Mombasa, si twende mapenzi nikupe. Paka we uridhike. nasema taxi nilipe, rent mi nikupe, nywele zisongwe Mombasa, sitwene mapenzi nikupe, paka we uridhike. Ask my shoe, ask my shoe, uliza kiatu, uliza kiatu. Ask my shoe, ask my shoe, uliza kiatu, uliza kiatu. Turn up. Take it down. So kitendawili. Tega. Wala siwasikii kitendawili. Tega. So ati nilimwonyesha mapenzi akanionyesha mfuko. Tega. Kitendawili. Ati alisema do ya salon ni thao tu, na kwa mfuko nilikuwa na mbao juu. Tega. Tega. Kitendawili. Tega. Ati alisema naenda PE, akirudi mimi nilipata akimeza vitu. Alikutega mbaya. Alinitega mbaya. Niko stuck katikati kama ile stick ya mshikaki. Mimi nampenda huyo mshikaji but nikiatu najua story. Yani vile mimi mchache nimemflash bahati mbaya John Gordon ya Bob Call. Mwani vile mimi ukanyaga matope kabla nifike kwa lami, na ile stress mimi upitia kabla nimbongeshe kilami. Yani vile mimi mpandisha taxi, alafu mimi naenda kutendia gari ya moshi. Ni vile mimi hustle hadi kana promotion. Ni vile mimi muita baby Jumina John kimita njeri yo arzge ukaele mama ziko ni mispoila. Ni vile yani vile mimi nimetamak hadi mwanzo kukasanda. Kani vile yani kani kukopa nimekopa, yani kani kukoka nimeokoka. Ni kani tisa nimepigana ndio ndivyo fika namba 8, na hata usiku nipata lunch ya 8. Toa moja toa moja toa moja. Yani vile mimi nimesaga mpaka toja, nikamchiti mimi naishi moja, nikamasha mpaka mimi simu na vioja eti mimi na wako mahakamani kusolve timbi, na bila shaka mashtaka. Ni vile leo dunia kasimama, tasimama pamoja. Yani vile kama penzi ni nywele amemsetia mpaka nati, vile kama penzi ni kikozi bila shaka niko na TB, niko na fever jona niumiza. Yani vile kama penzi ni mistari mwandikia sentensi, matenzi mpenzi na kuenzi vishenzi, niko chizi crazy mwizi wa mapenzi. Funge I'm guilty. Kiatu to testify. Kiatu to testify. Yeah. At the back. you know it, sing along. Yeah, yeah, ask my shoes. Uliza kiatu. Uliza kiatu. Sing it now. Ask my shoes. Ask my shoes. Uliza kiatu. Uliza kiatu. Mix up. How about ask my shoes? Ask my shoes. Uliza kiatu. Uliza kiatu. Turn it down. Ask my shoes. Ask my shoes. Uliza kiatu. Uliza kiatu.
Yeah, man. So we have the band H_A to the band. It's important to take care of your environment.
Yes.
Youth pia wako involved.
Important.
Wako in charge.
True that.
Take charge. And this one is for the lovers. Mapenzi yao sio. Love makes the world go round. Let's go.
Twende oh oh oh.
Atini nisema
oh oh oh.
Atini nisema
oh oh oh. Oh oh oh. Twende oh oh oh. Yeah. Oh oh oh. Yeah. Oh oh oh. Oh oh. Nikikutazama moyo wayoyoma, kipenzi changu roho wako ndakuyanza. Alright, nikikutazama moyo wayoyoma, kipenzi changu roho ndakuyanza. Alright, huenda leo tuko chini, twatembea matopeni bebe, usiwasikize matapeli jiji. Kesho tuna gari, ninasaka mali, twende penye mashambani, nikalipe mahari, tuishi kwa amani.
Nikikutazama moyo wayoyoma, kipenzi changu roho ndakuyanza.
Nikikutazama moyo wayoyoma, kipenzi changu roho ndakuyanza. Alright, kweli toto si toto, na roho la mtoto. Nipe kusuma sweetie,
kwa nini
nimekumisi jiji. Twende tumone kasisi, au disi kwa ofisi, turingie mapisi. Onana, ndakuyanza.
Nikikutazama moyo wayoyoma, kipenzi changu roho ndakuyanza.
Nikikutazama moyo wayoyoma, kipenzi changu roho ndakuyanza. Hey, Talusa.
nicer? Are you feeling nicer?
We are feeling nicer.
Soti, tusidanganyane. Tusifanye nini? Ati tusifanye nini? Tusidanganyane. Ati tangu niwache mimi sijakuwa nikikula, mimi sijakuwa nikilala, mimi sijakuwa nikienda mpaka choo.
Mpaka choo? Constipation.
Joni ukweli ni kama ni kukula, mimi nakula
tena sana.
Oh God. Ati kama ni kulala, mimi nalala
tena sana.
Ati kama ni choo, mimi naenda kwenda sijui breaks ni wapi zilienda.
Unstoppable.
But on the real though, mbingu na nchi inaweza testify vile mimi nilikupenda. Vile mimi sacrifice kila kitu mimi nilikuwa nayo, ndio upate kilo unapenda. So kama umeona kwenda, waenda. Na mkimuona, mwambieni bado nampenda. Yeah. At the back.
Tunaonekana tunajua hii.
Hawata mwambie nampenda.
Say what?
Roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona mwambie nampenda. Roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona.
Oh yeah. Oh Gaga, let's go.
Kusema kweli bado nakuhata mbaya, and on the daily bado nakufata. Kosa sio hoja zaidi ya kukupenda. Vipi nikatupa ndoto tulizoziota? Uliniwasha nare enzi zetu za kupare, kwa mvinyo na makale, magizani hadi ngware, nikijifanya dakitare wa mabinti wale wenye shepu za hatare, nikapotelea ndani. Ila mwambie nampenda, roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona mwambie nampenda, roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona.
Let's go.
Tabasamu la kishua, roho sawa na maua. I can't help but miss you every morning. Vile unapendeza, kama ningeweza jua yepi ya kutarajia, nisingejipata mashakani kwa niliyoyatenda. Ninayempenda ni wewe, hakuna mwingine wa kubadili penzi. Ningependa tuelewane, kiburi kisinikosanishe nawe. Uliniwasha bahari na sikushika nare, ukanisema kwa jirani kwamba mimi kisirane. Aibu za hadharani, vile penzi hatari, njoo unipe amani ama hapo zamani. Mwambie nampenda, roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona mwambie nampenda, roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona. Mwambie nampenda, roho ya mtamani bado nampenda.
Ati
ukimwona
mwambie
nampenda, roho ya mtamani bado nampenda.
Ati ukimwona
Wow, Heart the Band, absolutely amazing. We'll be hearing from them a bit later on in the show. But let's get into our next exciting conversation. With me in studio now is Tracy Kimadi, founder of Baridi. And I really want to ask you more about the organization, Tracy. But first, let's take a look at some of the work that you're doing.
Hello, my name is Tracy Kimathi. I'm the founder of Baridi, which is a solar-powered cold room innovation in East Africa's livestock value chains. The reason why we chose Burma market as a suitable market within our studies and our launch is because it is the largest market in Nairobi. There are over 1,000 meat vendors, out of which 580 we serve. A day in the life of a Baridi operation starts with our very capable operators coming in, receiving meat, weighing meat on our scales, putting it down within RFID technology, and then placing the meat into our cold storage facilities. So we have manned 2 local youths who operate a daily revenue collection within the unit, and they include 1 youth who is a female and 1 youth who is a male. Thank you for listening to our stories, and if you would like to know more about Baridi, visit our website www.baridi.co.ke to see how Kenyan young innovators are helping change the preservation industry in Kenya.
Such a noble initiative, Tracy, that you have going at Baridi. And you know, I know we didn't capture everything in the clip, but tell us more, at least that would pique the interest of those watching.
Yeah, thank you so much, Victoria. So I run a local startup called Baridi, which is basically a local Kenyan startup that enables solar-powered cooling in East Africa's livestock value chain. So since our first launch in December 2021, we've been able to serve at least 580 meat vendors, save up to 16,000 kilowatt hour worth of solar energy generation capacity, and preserve over 60,000 kilograms of meat. So the problem that we're tackling is basically post-slaughter meat loss in Nairobi's urban meat markets.
Incredible. And what has the response been, at least from those benefiting from the program?
People love it. We are local. We are assembled in Kenya by Kenya. We assembled this grand infrastructural project that are extremely innovative with a team that averages around 28 years old. So this is an infrastructure project led by Kenyan youths, by Kenyan locals, and we're extremely proud of that. And what our clients and our customers value from our services is our cleanliness, our able to report things in software, our environmental consciousness, and that's basically what's pushing us within the boundaries.
I mean, you're doing extremely well considering that you started a couple months ago, but where do you want to take it? How do you want to scale it?
Yes, so Baridi's aim is to launch at least 70 units within the continent, specifically looking at Kenya, Ethiopia, and Botswana. So we're really looking to launch as much solar generation capacity as possible, hopefully going up to 5 megawatts. And we're getting a lot of support from European partners in terms of not only technical assistance, but also climate funding as well.
Incredible. And all the best with that, Tracy. Congratulations once again for the wonderful work that you're doing. Now, the EU has a strong commitment to promoting the green transition, which is actually under the Green Deal. And it has a 2030 horizon of transforming the European and the global economy, turning it into a sustainable green one that will eventually create jobs. Now, when it comes to renewable energies, Kenya is well ahead with over 90% of the energy mix. And that is a proud moment for Kenya, absolutely. Now, when you think about some of the other initiatives, the European Investment Bank, which is essentially the EU's bank, has supported the Lake Turkana wind farm to produce 17% of Kenya's electricity during the day and over 30% at night.
Electricity is a key driver for economic progress. Through mini-grids, an increasing number of businesses and homes are being connected to this vital resource. Mini-grids provide reliable, clean energy to thousands who work and live beyond the reach of the national power grid.
Since it was installed at the facility, those mothers who are expectant, they usually come at night and we assist them. And that means the mortality rate of the children has reduced immensely because mothers now can deliver at the hospital. Now we could store vaccines properly. We store the vaccines for a 24-hour period. All the children now can get their vaccines.
Kama mimi nanunua TV, kuangalia hiyo mambo ya Kenya, kufanyika Kenya, yote siasa hii, kuko na watoto wanatenda kitu inaitwa katuni.
Kwanza mbeleni tulikuwa tunatatizika kwa sababu unafanya biashara yako ikifika saa 1 unafunga. Sababu ni hatukuwa na mwangaza. Tangu wakati tulipopokea hiyo stima ya renewable energy, tunafungua biashara zetu mpaka hata ukitaka paka asubuhi unaendelea na biashara yako.
Kila mali saa hii tunausanga mpaka saa 3, saa 4, wengine wanauza mpaka saa 5 kwa sababu ya light.
Ile wakati ilikuwa hakuna, ilikuwa friji yetu ni kutafuta gunia, unaweka chini, alafu ama unaweka makaa, unaweka mchanga, alafu unaweka mwagia maji, unaweka gunia, unapangia kama ni soda, kama ni maji. Kwa hivyo ile mali tumefaidikia ni kwa hizi mafriji, kwa sababu hii friji imeletwa kupitia kwa hizi stima.
We are the European Union's Team Europe.
All right, so next up are the European ambassadors just sharing their thoughts on how young Kenyans can plug in and fight climate change and promote the green transition. Take a look at their messages.
Young people are the future, and I'm very happy that young people took the lead in the fight against climate change.
Kenya is one of the last great safari destinations in the world. Kenyan youth should tap into this wealth of opportunities to attract European tourists to see the untouched nature, the safaris, the game drives, and to also experience ecological farming. All these measures can reduce the CO2 footprint we have on the world and also keep and conserve Kenya's beautiful natural heritage, and at the same time provide employment and sustainable living for all Kenyans.
Kenya has an incredible story to tell. 70% or 75% of your energy is produced with renewable energy. That story, the youth has to tell that story to the world, because this is a story that will inspire every country in the world to strive for exactly the same energy mix.
In my own country and in a number of other countries, we have found out that it's the youth that starts influencing the behavior of the parents. Normally it's the other way around, but in environmental things, oftentimes the youth influence the parents.
Kenya's youth are critical to sustainable development. Access to STEM education is critical to climate solutions. Improving STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math is the way that we can combine scientific knowledge with climate action. With 3/4 of Kenya's population under the age of 30, this is an absolute opportunity to demonstrate the importance of scientific knowledge and climate solutions. Ireland champions Young Scientist Kenya and Africa Code Week as a means to improving access to STEM education.
So youth is the majority of Kenya and affected most by climate change now and in the future. But youth is also the best driver of change and the best adapter of innovations. So I would encourage the youth of Kenya really to use their creativity, their commitment and their energy to make sure that policies are implemented, that innovations are adapted and that attitudes are changed, like by using a bike.
When you say climate resilience and youth, what do I think? I think about sustainable agriculture and a greener transition, which in turn translates to opportunity for employment and entrepreneurship. The youths are the best ambassador for this particular role because they spread information which in turn translates to inventing new jobs and building a greener Kenya.
Young Kenyans can influence and drive a climate conscious change because youth is the driving ambition generation and we rely on youth for climate.
In Kenya, sectors such as agriculture, transport, water and energy are absolutely crucial sectors in order for Kenya to make a transition into a low carbon future. And in order for us to succeed in this transition, the Kenyan youth is absolutely crucial in terms of driving innovation, creating climate smart technologies and developing new skills. So we need to put the Kenyan youth in the driving seat in order to reach a more low carbon future.
Young people, being full of motivation, determination and creativity, are the future environmental leaders. Kenya, with its capital, Nairobi, being the seat of the United Nations Environment Programme, offers so many diverse opportunities for youth to engage, act and make a change.
So we all have to work together, both in Kenya, the EU and around the globe.
Oh, thank you to all the European ambassadors for sharing their insights. And it's clear, certainly it is the young generation of Kenyans who need to lead the way. All right, on that note, I think it's time for some music.
Nampenda mpenda, to all the African kings. Yeah, yeah. So it's for you and you and you. Happy Europe Day. Hey, hey, I bumped into this guy at this club. We were dancing. African beauty, tall, dark and handsome, gave me his number, I gave him my name. That marked the beginning of such a beautiful thing. I don't know what I'm feeling when he's around. My head touches ceiling, fall back to the ground. Is this love or just infatuation? Whatever it is, yes, I love the sensation. Say nampenda, nampenda. Nampenda mpenda kijana moja. Oh, now let me tell you some more about my African king. I love his big brown eyes, the color of his skin. I can't breathe whenever he's not around. I go weak, oh yeah, whenever he comes around. I don't know what I'm feeling when he's around. My head touches ceiling, fall back to the ground. Is this love or just infatuation? Whatever it is, yes, I love the sensation. Say nampenda, 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 nampenda kijana moja, kijana moja. Sikuli, siogi, nampenda, yeah, yeah. And I'm so glad He's my rock, he's my power, he's my warrior king. Got my back, he's no coward. He's my ebony baby, coffee skin like a Howard. He's my hero, my strength, he's my African Jack Bauer. Yes, I don't know what I'm feeling when he's around. My head touch the ceiling, fall back to the ground. Is this love or just infatuation? Whatever it is. And so now you help me say, hey, nampenda nani, nampenda kijana moja, usikuli, usiogi, nampenda nani, yeah, oh yeah, nampenda, usikuli, aisiogi, nampenda nani, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nampenda, yeah.
Lamu's fragile marine ecosystem has suffered degradation from illegal logging and fishing over the years. Thanks to the work being done by community conservancies, this trend is being reversed.
Zamani mikoko ilikuwa ikikatwa kiholela na pia mvua ilipungua kabisa, kwa sababu mikoko pia inachangia kuvuta mvua, pia inachangia kuleta samaki. Na ndiposa sisi kama jamii ya Pate tunapata ile mavuno, tunapata maisha, tunaenda uza hiyo mavuno hapo, tunapeleka school fees, tunalipa rent na mambo mengineyo.
Na shamba la pweza katika Kenya mzima la kwanza ni hapa Shangashakani. Shamba letu tayari limetoa mazao. Ukiangalia awali liko hakuna kitu kama hizo. Lakini sasa hii tukifungua pweza hupata wingi na vile wakubwa na matumbao huwa salama na samaki wadogo huwa wakubwa. Sisi wanawake tumekusanya hiyo pesa kutoka kwenye shamba letu la pweza. Faida tumepata boti 2, hatutumii tena boti za wanaume, tutatumia boti zetu wenyewe wanawake. Tumetoa nursery school, tumenunua plot na tumetia msingi kujenga nursery school.
We are the European Union's Team Europe.
Wow, that video clip definitely gives us a lot to think about, especially when it comes to biodiversity and the role that we can play in addressing it. Now, let's move on to our next young change maker in the green transition. And joining me now is Dennis Muguta, founder of Leafy Life Private Limited Company, a waste management company. Really interesting name, but I wonder, what is it that you actually do, Dennis?
So our focus is on diapers,
okay.
Waste diapers. It's a problem that we have all over the world globally, and we came up with an innovation of converting them into biofuel, and as well as construction materials.
Interesting.
Yes.
So how do you actually make that happen and convert it into energy, and who can use that energy?
So the process first begins with cleaning the diapers. It's dirty, and then fundamentally going all the way down to the initial component that make up the diaper. Okay. And now from this initial component that make up the diaper, we'll be able now to get the fuel from that, able to get the construction materials from that. And even on top of that, the process of cleaning itself is also unique, and it's also part of our products that we also still trying to put it together. In terms of the fuel, the users is the low-income families, because for a while they've been using dirty fuels, and we thought clean energy and affordable energy would be very important, and that is our target market, mainly.
It's a brilliant idea, and I think about how do you actually get the diapers? Would you actually be picking them up, or you'll have drop-off points?
So one of the model will be having the drop-off points, but currently the model that we want to work with, it's already recyclers who are already in the space. Some of them are collecting more than 3 tons per day of diapers, and they don't know where to take them. So it's still a lot. And remember, Kenya produces more than 800,000 diapers yearly. And I'm not mentioning about the rural places, just the urban spaces alone. So it's a lot of waste out there that nothing is being done about it, but we are here to provide that solution, and we hope not only you're going to solve in Africa, but globally as well.
And you've won several awards from your work. Congratulations for
thank
that.
You. Thank you.
And you've also gotten attention from other players outside of Kenya. What would you want to do with some of those partnerships?
So some of these partnerships, one being European Union, that came in through these awards and also through technical support. We would like to use these networks to, first of all, to build the prototype plant, which is very vital. And then from there as well, to get access to developed markets, developed country markets, so that we can be able also to sell the technology there as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And when you think about moving forward, what would be a challenge in terms of you scaling what you actually want to do?
Actually, the biggest challenge that we're having is policies. We really would like to have policies that work hand in hand with big corporations that produce this waste, and also that works with recyclers. Unless those policies are good and for sure they are protecting us, that's the only time that we would say our project will not only be environmentally sustainable, but as well as economically sustainable. Yeah.
Fantastic. All the best, Dennis, and thank you so much for telling us more about what you're doing with Leafy Life.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So, it's interesting. We've been talking about young people and climate change. And, surveys have shown that, yes, most young people, young Kenyans, feel that climate change is important generally, but they don't know how it impacts them personally and their livelihoods as well. Well, one person wanted to find out just what they think about it, and that is none other than Octopizzo.
Alando pile pile bendu winja. Hey, mini papa uliza winja.
Yo, niaze, mimi naitwa Octopizo Kibera number 9 representing. Tuko out here, we out here. Sasani weather, slave. What does climate change mean to me? Personally, climate change, in my understanding from my environment, means one, there's no more harvest the way we used to have harvest. This is how I look at it. That's one. Two, it means there's more pollution than it was like maybe 20 years ago. But the things I do in regards to climate right now is we've been adapting. I'm a farmer, by the way. Many people just think I'm a rapper. So I farm, and we've been using different ways of farming where there's places, like let's say where we come from, where we've been farming the same thing, maize and beans for over 50 years, and the soil can't take it anymore. And now we are changing that to different ways of farming. Two, I'm into solar energy, because I think that has helped us from using like generators and and different type of pollution. So solar energy, like my entire home is run by solar, pumping water is by solar, and I think that has really helped to conserve, because it's like a circle where everything is natural. The best role that Kenyan youths and just Kenyans in general should play is, one, they should want to know, to understand what actually is climate change.
Wow, that was great. You can't get enough of amazing music in this show. Now to another young change maker, this time in the area of digital transformation. I'm talking about William Nguru. He's a co-founder of Kurasa Africa Limited, and it's an ed tech startup, Kenyan-based, that supports schools towards improving pedagogical experiences towards better academic outcomes. He's currently the group's chief product officer, and he spends most of his time dedicated to benchmarking with the industry on innovation. He also is a co-founder of paid.co.ke, and that is a mobile-based customer engagement tool for retail businesses. Now, prior to starting Kurasa, he worked with Strathmore Research Innovation Lab, the Clinton Foundation, and Mobile Decisioning Africa as a software engineer. That is not all. He is also a member of the Global Entrepreneurship Network. You have been everywhere, William. Quite impressive background there. But, tell us how digitization contributes to a better world, especially for the youth.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Victoria, for that introduction. And let me talk about digitization in our space, because first of all, digitization is about information access. And this information needs to get to the right people. So they need to be told about, the impact, what impact it has on them, what is the meaning, and what is their contribution. And they also need to be upskilled on what they can do. And so in this space of young growing learners in this K-12 space, it's very essential that they're equipped with the right information. And having a digitization, having a digital platform for this space enables us to be able to monitor the learning outcomes and also improve on how the teaching is actually done in classes. And so this is very powerful, and it offers that essential key to bringing the change in the next generation.
And why is that so important? When you think about how our current education system is structured, many times you're working towards passing an exam that really is, taking stock of the last, 8 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And many say that's not fair. So how does, digital tech help in changing how we educate young people?
Yeah, so the first thing that affects education and what makes us so reliant on examinations is the amount of time that a teacher has given the number of students in a normal classroom. So they spend 80% of the time on rote learning. This is basically copying and following up. So the teachers don't have enough time to check each and every learner how they are performing. And what Kurasa is doing in changing this is giving the time now the ability to follow up on each and every learner's needs. And what they do on Kurasa is they take 2 minutes of their time at the end of each lesson to just take stock and account for what each learner has learned. And so this gives us information to follow up on what happens in each classroom. Also the school owners, the educational departments, and even the parents are able to see how these learners are actually making progress on a day-by-day basis. So this gives us the benefit of knowing how much progress a learner has made against just waiting for a national examination after 8 years, which is a really long time.
No, absolutely. Yeah. We've gone big on climate change throughout the show, and I'm curious to know, what is Kurasa doing to incorporate something like that into the curriculum, especially for young people?
So there's a lot of change that has happened with the new curriculum, the competency-based curriculum, and we have there's an introduction of environmental studies, and there's also linkage between all the learning areas and environmental studies, which now allows them also to understand the effects of climate change, the effects of not taking care of your environment. And this is from an early stage all the way up to the highest grades. And this is really great progress within our education space.
No, absolutely. Starting them off young. Thank you so much, William, and all the best with all you're doing at Kurasa. Now, let's talk about trade. And the European Union is a single market comprising of some 500 million consumers. That's big. And when you think about the potential for especially Kenya to tap into that, the EU remains Kenya's top and largest export destination market, with Kenyans exporting goods estimated to be 1 billion euros, so that translates to 130 billion shillings. Well, increasing trade is a very important way to create more jobs, which we've been talking about throughout the show. But increasing trade can imply increasing carbon emissions, which we don't want much of. Also, how do we make or trade reduce its climate footprints? Let's take a look at this next video to tell us more.
Through the reduction of carbon emissions and use of greener technologies, trade in Kenya is getting greener by the day. At Kilindini, government agencies and other organizations are working to cut vessel turnaround time from 90 to 67 hours and truck dwell time from 5 to 2 hours by December 2024. Less time at the port means lower emissions. At the Integrated Tea Trade System for the East African Tea Trade Association, the tea trade cycle has been cut by 10 days, reducing paperwork and cutting costs for traders by 58%. In Baraki, we now have an improved, safer road with provision for non-motorized transport to promote inclusivity. We are the European Union's Team Europe.
I wonder what Kenya will export next. Could it be our entrepreneurial spirit or even green hydrogen? You never know, but the possibilities are endless, and that's what makes these conversations so exciting. Now, I've been enjoying the videos throughout the show. I hope you have as well. And if you want to run them back and take a second eye, take some notes perhaps, you were inspired, you can actually do that on the EU in Kenya YouTube channel. The show will also be streaming there as well if you want to watch it back again to get some of those inspiring conversations. We encourage you to follow us on social media at EU in Kenya on Facebook and on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you and keep the conversations going on social media. Well, the show is about to wrap up, but before we do that, let's get another performance from Heart the Band.
Yes, yeah, man. Lakini ukweli ni ya kwamba ukiachwa
achika, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's party time. By the way, our new album is out, Party Time. Get your copy now from our website, hatheband.com.
Yes.
You can get it on all streaming platforms. Victor, uko sawa? Matt, uko sawa?
Matt ako sawa.
Itolee koti ama nini?
Itolee koti.
Hey,
ndugu yangu.
Shkokoti.
It's bad.
You have started coating. My goodness. Ogaga, you want to give us something on the bass? Huh? Maybe?
Maybe.
Let's do the thing, man. Usitafute bass, man. Ushawasili.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Muziki bila jasho.
Muziki wazee. Muziki bila jasho.
Kuna jasho lakini let's go together ourselves.
Maijabe unametamet utakunywa nini wale nimeleta ainyago hiyo teke imeweza ukisuka chini unatetemeza maijabe unametameta utakunywa nini wale nimeleta ainyago hiyo teke imeweza ukisuka chini unatetemeza. Atetete aye denge mama. Atetete unatetemeza. Atetete mama. Aye denge mama. Atetete mama. Unatetemeza. You're the real goat. Karibia ringa wakuone, maidia kutoka Kondele. Find me by the lakeside, girl baby by my side. Na penda hiyo design, nimekamata yo behind. Fungulia bebe Mr. DJ, nimejinyakulia figa namba 8. Tonight is the night, starehe polite, nimejinyakulia. Wacha nijigambe, mama maitabe. Unametameta, utakunywa nini? Wale nimeleta, ainako iyo teke imeweza. Ukisuka chini, unatetemea, mama maitabe. Unametameta, utakunywa nini? Wale nimeleta, ainako iyo teke imeweza. Ukisuka chini unatetemea.
natural African.
Wanasema mziki bila jasho, lakini jasho ni kama
ndio kabisa.
Ndio sasa.
Nakula jasho yako. Nakula jasho yetu.
Yeah, man, so we had the band H__ here to the band. And for this last song, it's a special one to everybody. Before Victoria interviewed us, she asked us, how was it during the COVID times? And for sure it was hard for everybody, including us, but we came out stronger. And that's what matters, I'll say. Yeah, man. So this one is to all of you for being special and for holding it down for every single person. Sindio?
Yeah, man.
Twende kazi, man.
He's an awesome God. Amenipa such an awesome song. And I'm never lonely. Amenipa such an awesome love. He's an awesome God, and I wanna tell it to the world. Ili wajue ni wewe, kama si wewe basi nani?
Nasikia na nilodi yako kwa njia anataka kodi. Ni wewe utaprovide. Na nina ngori moyoni zinanijaza bodi, ila nitakuwa fine. El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai.
Every day is an awesome day.
Oh yeah.
Na vile unanibariki hata mimi sielewi. And every day you come through in an awesome way.
Kwenye dhiki nimepata rafiki wa kweli. Na kuna kaloni mahali kananijaza wood. Ni wewe utaprovide. Nina mahari natamani kulipia mpenzi, sote tutakuwa fine. Na madaktari wanasema hali siyo hali, wewe unajua time. Hizi nguvu zako kwangu, I will call you El Shaddai. El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai.
Tini nisema
El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai.
Tini nisema
El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai,
everybody,
uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai.
So dear Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Dear Lord, grant me the courage to change the things I know I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And if you know this song, let's sing along now. I'll still at the band. Let's go. One time.
El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai.
nation, let's go ahead to the band. Make sure you take care of yourself, take care of your environment. Let's make the world a better place. Shukran sana. At the band nation, let's go ahead to the band. We love you all. Big up our lovely band. Yeah. Oh yeah. Shukran sana.
All right, and as they say, all things must come to an end. It's time to say goodbye. But before we do, let's do just a mini recap on what the European Union really is all about. Well, it's the EU institutions and the 27 member states. Together, they are Team Europe. And of course, today we've been talking about how young Kenyans can be strategic and helpful in addressing and fighting climate change. And of course, there is a partnership between the EU and our government when it comes to various subject matters, including the topics that we talked about throughout the show today, from climate change, the environment, and the green transition. I want to say a huge thank you to all of our guests today, from Tracy Kimathi, Dennis Muguta, Stephen Gitai, and William Nguru, as well as Heart the Band, Fena, the Kenya Conservatoire, Women's Orchestra, and Octopizzo. And we can't end this without saying a big thank you to Alliance Francaise and, of course, our precious Kenya National Theatre. Such amazing institutions that have been absolutely instrumental in making this show a success. It has been an absolute honor and pleasure partnering with the EU delegation to Kenya. And let's keep this going in terms of a conversation on social media when it comes to climate change and what role you can play in making a difference. I'm Victoria Rubadiri. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.
Thank you.